After 5 years of litigation, Nigeria secures landmark victory in case of $11.5 billion involving P&ID Limited. Supreme Court reserves judgment after hearing appeals against judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Court.
My government is not blind to the challenges several of you are facing in the financial markets.
President Tinubu at National Economic Summit re-emphasizes provision of consumer credit facility to citizens. Hello and thank you for joining us as usual on the Network News on NTA. I'm Naja'atu Tijani. Hingino John Adams is standing by in Lagos. The Network News is always live on our website, nta.ng/live. You can catch the replay on our YouTube channel and follow us across all social media platforms for the latest news. We begin with winning news for the country as Nigeria has won its case against Process and Industrial Development P&ID Limited in a London court after 5 years of litigation. Anthony Forson reports.
The judgment came after 5 years, which has finally been settled to the advantage of Nigeria. The London court quashed the 11 billion arbitration award issued in favor of P&ID. The ruling, delivered by Justice Robin Knowles of the Commercial Courts of England and Wales, upheld Nigeria's prayers on the grounds that the ill-fated gas processing contract was obtained by fraud. The Business and Property Court in London delivered the judgment in the case between the Federal Government of Nigeria and Process and Industrial Development P&ID Limited. The federal government had initiated the development of tankers for the transportation of crude oil through the creeks of the Niger Delta, following the inability to fix the often vandalized pipelines in the region. However, P&ID had agreed with Nigeria in 2010 to build a gas processing plant in Calabar for the purpose. It failed and turned round to sue Nigeria, claiming that the contract failed because the Nigerian government did not fulfill its end of the bargain, saying Nigeria breached the terms of the contract and took a legal recourse and secured an arbitral award against Nigeria. On the 31st of January 2017, a tribunal ruled that Nigeria should pay P&ID $6.6 billion as damages, as well as pre- and post-judgment interest at 7%. Nigeria applied for an extension of time and relief from sanctions, which was granted by Ross Cranston, Judge of the Business and Property Court of England and Wales, in September 2020, thereby returning the case to arbitration. With that development, Nigeria alleged that the gas deal was a scam conceived to defraud the country. Lawyers representing the federal government told the court that P&ID officials paid bribes to secure the contract. But P&ID denied the allegation and accused the Nigerian government of false allegations and wild conspiracy theories. In a March trial at the court, Nigeria alleged that the contract was secured through dishonest means that included bribery and perjury, and that the arbitration award, which has risen to $11 billion because of its interest, should be quashed. And it has been quashed. Nigeria stands tall in the case. Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu applauds today's judgment rendered by Judge Robin Knowles of the Business and Property Courts in London and Wales, awarding a landmark victory to the federal government of Nigeria over a firm known as Process and Industrial Development P&ID Limited. Following Judge Knowles' dismissal of the $11.5 billion value of the award, plus accumulated interest, previously won by P&ID over a failed 2010 deal to allegedly build a gas processing plant, on the grounds that the award was obtained by fraud, President Tinubu commends the UK court for prioritizing the merits of the case above all other considerations. The president says this landmark judgment proves conclusively that nation-states will no longer be held hostage by economic conspiracies between private firms and solitary corrupt officials who conspire to extort and indebt the very nations they swear to defend and protect. Quote, Today's victory is not for Nigeria alone. It is a victory for our long-exploited continent and for the developing world at large, which has for too long been on the receiving end of unjust economic malpractice and overt exploitation. Nigeria is appreciative of the tremendous effort of the defense team and acknowledges the role of the Ministry of Justice and the Office of the Attorney General in defending Nigeria's interest in this case. End of quote. Joining us live to discuss the gains of this landmark victory is the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. And thank you, viewers. Good evening.
The UK Commercial Court has set aside the arbitral award of $9.6, now $11.5 billion in a matter between the federal government and P&ID. What's the reaction of the federal government to this legal victory?
Well, thank you very much. The reaction of the federal government is the one encapsulated in the statement issued by our leader, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, immediately after rendering the decision. He has praised the UK court for the courage, for the determination, and for clearly showing that it's a victory not only for Nigeria but for the entire continent. And so my own reaction won't be a distraction from that one. Rather, I will also support Mr. President in commending Justice Knowles for a very landmark victory judgment that he has rendered. And it has, sent jilters across the spines of the evildoers, those who are involved in this dastardly act. Don't forget, the action didn't just start in 2017. It actually started in 2012. It traveled for 5 years at the arbitration panel to get to 2017 when the initial judgment was rendered, condemning the action of the federal government and awarding damages of $6.5 billion at the rate of 7% per annum. If you look, do the calculation very well, this comes to $1 million every year. So, as at the time we went to arbitration, to the court in England, when we were granted leave to challenge the award in 2019, it had risen to $6 billion. And as of today, this month, it was in the neighborhood. This month, this is August. This is October. It had risen to $11.5 billion. In Naira language, that's about 9.7 trillion Naira. And you know what this can do in the life of any nation. $9.7 trillion. This is the amount a few unscrupulous elements would have, diverted to personal or private pockets. But the president said no. There was so much pressure to settle. I have never seen, let me say, it is strange that a man who won and is sure of his ground will still be begging you to come and settle. But the president insisted that he was not going to allow corruption any place in his administration. And just this morning at the Economic Summit, he repeated this, that he was going to fight corruption with all that the arsenals at his disposal. So his insistence on this actually, proven him right, that he will not succumb to pressure when it comes to corruption. So I thank him.
I was going to come to that, but you've already mentioned this, especially how much Nigeria has been saved from having to pay out such a huge sum. And this legal tussle had the, of course, capacity to erode Nigeria's foreign reserves. It also lasted for about 5 years over a purported gas supply and processing agreement without the alleged contractor having any site in Nigeria. Now, what measure is the Office of the Attorney General putting in place to avert such a future occurrence?
Well, first of all, this agreement, or the purported agreement by P&ID, was conceived in fraud, nurtured in fraud, and executed, purportedly pursued in fraud. Here is a company who was purportedly awarded contract on the understanding that it will provide land. The government provided land and asked the company to pay 21 million naira. Then, not a dime was paid. And that's part of the reasons or factors put into consideration by the UK court. That, look, even the condition precedent to be met by you was not met. So it was one of those contractors whose offices are usually in their briefcases. So in this case, that's the situation. There was no arrangement at all. There was no following of due process. That's one. Number two is that there was no Federal Executive Council decision on the issue of award of contract. It never came to the Ministry of Justice for vetting. When there's an agreement, the Ministry of Justice is saddled with the especially by the federal government, is saddled with the responsibility of looking critically into the terms and conditions of the agreement. This one, there's no record that it ever came to the Federal Ministry of Justice. There is Energy Concessionary Infrastructure Concessionary Bureau, which ought to have also passed the agreement. It never went to that area. Furthermore, there was no all the agencies involved who were supposed to participate were sidelined. None of them was involved in this transaction. Then if you look at the aspect concerning the arbitration agreement was put at London, that the seat of arbitration was put at London, whereas it should have been Nigeria. Of the three arbitrators, one was a Nigerian, and that's the former Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Bayo Ojo, who merely struggled to award $250 million against Nigeria, as against the other two arbitrators who jointly awarded $6.5 billion against Nigeria. So everything was wrong with the purported contract of between P&ID and the federal government of Nigeria. So going forward, it is now the resolve of the federal government that all contracts will be critically scrutinized by the federal ministry, will go to Ministry of Justice for scrutiny and advice as to whether or not it satisfies international standard.
Now, from this explanation, the award was obtained by fraud and contrary to public policy. So is Nigeria taking any steps to prosecute those who were involved? That's any Nigerians who have been found to be involved in the case?
Well, thank you very much. It's not just a fraud, it's monumental fraud. And already the EFCC, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, already at work. We have a number of people facing prosecution along this line. And where the judgment is in maybe about 2-3 weeks or 4 weeks, we'll look critically into that judgment and also the records, and also bring the others to book, those who are found wanting or to have participated in what has brought Nigeria to its kneel, but for the judgment of the UK will be sanctioned, will be appropriate legal action will be taken against them. Like the Americans will say, it's either bring them to justice or we take justice to them. This will be effectively pursued. The only thing is that along the line, one of the people accused of corruption, I think Mr. Shashore, has been exonerated. So we also look into that. We have to respect the judgment of the UK court. But I can assure you that everybody concerned, wherever such a person may be, will be made to face the music.
Thank you very much. I've been speaking with the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, on Nigeria's victory over the P&ID Limited case. And before we take a break, Nigerians must understand the role that the legal team played, in the sense that Nigeria's legal team gave the president an advice which led to this victory. More after the break.
Where is Glory?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hello? Where Glory now? I dey here.
Glo don't go village, tell all our customer abi.
Everybody pay attention. See, now Glo berekete 10x. Now him I dey take tension my customers. Now he dey dash me 10 times the credits when I load. Or even sama me double data join.
Yeah. Wait, so with 1.5 they give all of us, so you dey enjoy up to 15,000 naira credit and data.
And I say I never finish you. See, una say if you enjoy, if una join Glo berekete 10x, una go get 1,000 naira welcome credit. Finish.
Glo, you don't win.
Una see dey here. Hello, please, I'm looking for Glo.
Please save now Glo we dey fine. Now Glo we dey go.
Okay, so
enjoy 10 times the value of your recharge on Glo berekete 10x. You also get 1,000 naira for calls and data and double data bonus on your subscription.
In line with the renewed hope agenda of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration and the First Lady, the mother of the nation, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the Federal Ministry of Health, in collaboration with Ministry of Women Affairs, are commencing HPV vaccination for girls to protect them against cervical cancer. It is estimated that Nigeria records more than 12,000 new cases of cervical cancer with about 8,000 deaths every year. But the good news is cervical cancer can be prevented with vaccination. In line with global cervical cancer elimination strategy of vaccination, screening, early diagnosis and treatment. The HPV vaccine, which prevents against cervical cancer, will be administered to girls aged 9 to 14 in schools, communities, and all primary healthcare facilities from 24th of October 2023. HPV vaccine and all other vaccines are free, safe, and effective. Women of reproductive age and above are encouraged to go for screening. For further inquiries, call the following NPHCDA toll-free number 7722. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Health with support from Ministry of Women Affairs.
Give me a Risco tomato instead. I go give you imported tomato. Be like saying that people like you, the wicked our country people. You see this Risco, Richico or Machico, They take correct natural ingredients, make them. If not made in Nigeria, like a Risco, get many benefits. You help grow our economy. And job plentiful, nyafo. And when you put them inside mouth, it's sweet and it dig it for
buy made in Nigeria. Buy a Risco product.
The Federal Ministry of Health, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, in collaboration with partners, will be introducing the human papillomavirus HPV vaccine into Nigeria's immunization schedule against cervical cancer and other HPV-related diseases. The HPV vaccine will be launched at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa on Tuesday, the 24th of October 2023, by Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu, First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. HPV vaccine will be administered to girls 9 to 14 years in schools, communities, and all PHC centers in the 15 Phase 1 states and FCT on 24th to 28th October 2023 to prevent against the pains of tomorrow. HPV vaccine and all other vaccines are free, safe, and effective. This message is from NPHCDA with support from partners. For further inquiries, call the NPHCDA toll-free number 7722.
The Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, cordially invites the general public to this year's Digital Nigeria Conference, Exhibition and Awards with the theme, Harnessing Digital Technologies for Job Creation, Inclusive Economic Growth and Sustainability. The event, which will have discussions centered around sub-themes like emerging technologies, blockchain, metaverse, AI, GovTech, Innovation Challenge, Consumer Tech, Creative Economy and others, is scheduled to hold as follows. Date 24th to 26th October 2023, time 9 a.m. daily. Venue International Conference Center, ICC, Abuja. For more details, please log on to www.digitalnigeria.gov.ng. Announcer Kashifu Yunwa Abdullahi, CCIE, DG and CEO NIDA.
The office of the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, is organizing a 3-day protocol and security seminar for female federal legislators, wives of legislators, female members of the Federal Executive Council, wives of governors, female deputy governors, female local government chairmen, wives of traditional rulers, and female top government functionaries. The 3-day seminar holds between Thursday 26th of October to Saturday 28th of October at the Banquet Hall, State House, Abuja at 9 a.m. daily. Facilitators are drawn from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the National Intelligence Agency, Office of the National Security Advisor, the Nigerian Police Force, Nigerian Immigration Service, and the Nigerian Customs Service. This seminar is strictly by invitation. Announcer Busola Kukoyi, SSA Media, to the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The Association of Chairmen of Local Government Service Commissions in Nigeria is holding a 3-day national stakeholders workshop in Abuja. Theme: Local Government Administration in Nigeria, the trajectories, trends and possibilities. Date 23rd to 26th October 2023. Venue: Miriam Babangida Center for Women Development, Abuja. Time 9 to 5 p.m. daily. Announcer Barrister Bawa Sani, National Chairman.
The Federal Executive Council has approved a draft policy for the solid minerals development sector to sanitize and allow adoption and deployment of technology for improved security in mining communities. This is one of the approvals from the Council's meeting this Monday. State House correspondent Musbau Wahab reports that there are also better days ahead for the Nigerian girl child with a new program in the offing.
It is an afternoon good enough to deliberate on the challenges of today in order to guarantee the future of the country. One of the issues on the table for the highest decision-making body is in the solid mineral sector, and the minister in charge acknowledges the positive reactions to the new vigor in the sector. Yet, still prevalent are also the complexities in the sector.
The incidence of illegal mining is very, very pervasive, especially in the rural areas. And we've also traced incidents of banditry to the handiwork of illegal miners, especially foreign illegal miners. Some notorious foreigners who come to our nation sponsor banditry in the local areas with a view to driving away the local population and then moving in to start exploration and extracting our minerals.
But then, the current administration is demonstrating intention with special attention to make the solid mineral sector a new fulcrum of its economic earnings. And now, the Council approved a draft policy targeted as the game changer.
Now gives us in the ministry the teeth that we've wanted to be able to now act with precision on all of those things that we have mapped out. Measures on security. You're also quite aware of illegal mining activities all over the country by both high and low. The so-called itinerant miners who just pick gold, lithium anywhere without licensing. But those are the low class. We have the high class also involved in this game. So we are rejigging the security architecture involving an inter-security agency structure to ensure that we combat this menace.
The Ministry of Finance also secures Council's approval for 5 zero-interest loans totaling $3.5 billion to fund some critical projects.
The projects that were approved for funding in the power sector and then the renewable energy sector, there was a funding for states for resource mobilization program to help them with their internally generated revenue efforts.
The issue of about 6 million Nigerian girls, which UNICEF estimates to be out of school in Nigeria, received attention of the Council. Hence, the approval for the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment beginning with 18 participating states.
Which will lead to the empowerment of girls between 10 to 20 right across the participating states. This is a very major escalation of this program that is meant to empower our girls, our teachers, and the provision for additional schools in the country.
Council also officially ratified the protocol to the African Charter on the Rights of Older Persons in Africa, a transformative legal instrument providing norms and standards in ensuring respect and protection of the rights of older persons in Africa. This came along with approval for the Humanitarian and Poverty Alleviation Trust Fund.
This is a flexible form of financing that is supposed to help Nigeria adequately respond to humanitarian crises and challenges, as well as adequately address the issue of poverty in Nigeria.
The government projects to generate about $5 billion for the trust fund every year. From the State House, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu assures of his team's commitment to ensuring that the consumer credit facility promised by his administration to discourage corruption will work, especially in the civil service. The president made this known during the 29th edition of the National Economic Summit holding in Abuja. State House correspondent Musbah Wahab again reports that the theme of the summit is Pathways to Sustainable Economic Transformation and Inclusion.
For the administration charting a new course for economic prosperity, this assemblage is equally a priority, and the man in front would not miss it. It's also a convergence of interest as participants from the private and public sectors, chief executives, and other top-level decision-makers are here to lend voices towards setting agenda for the nation's economic transformation. The potentials are great, but the realities are yet gloomy. But then, the summit identifies declining naira value, low access to foreign exchange, multiplication of taxes, and MSME's multi-dimensional complexities among the hurdles along the pathway to the nation's economic greatness.
With more than 100 million of us being multi-dimensionally poor, there are potentially more risks of stagnation and distress if a low growth and low investment era persists. We know a multi-trillion-dollar economy is viable within a decade of serious reforms, consistent economic action, and deliberate institutional reforms.
The economic realities are currently below expectations, with less than 2,000 naira per capita and 43% of the citizens below poverty lines. But the man at the center, with these forward-looking ideas, says the solutions are in the works with bold economic decisions taken so far.
We have all felt the pain of these reforms. Soon, we shall begin to reap the rewards. I believe in the definition of our profession that I inherit the asset and liability of my predecessor. The framework has been put in place to ensure that these obligations are met in due course. My government is not blind to the challenges several of you are facing in the financial markets. I can only allay these concerns by revealing that we have a good line of sight for the additional foreign exchange liquidity that is required to restore market confidence. And we are going to do that.
President Tinubu promises the takeoff of a new student loan in January, construction of affordable homes, among other transformative policies and programs to strengthen the economy.
A $1 trillion economy is possible by year 2026. And a $3 trillion economy is also possible within this decade. And this administration will not hesitate to seize the opportunity of this moment. Our finest destiny is awaiting us all. Let Nigerians breathe a sigh of renewed hope and confidence.
For him, looking back is a distraction as he now expects workable ideas from this high-level economic gathering for clearer pathways to economic transformation. In Abuja, Musbao and Wahab, NTA News.
And still on economic transformation and other issues discussed at the NES, we have joining us live the President, Capital Market Academics of Nigeria and Professor of Capital Markets at the Nasarawa State University, Kefi, Uche Owaleke. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Good evening, viewers.
Now, to quote the President, a $1 trillion economy is possible, and a $3 trillion economy is possible within this decade. Now, what are the steps to realizing this, considering the present economic situation?
Thanks so much. I think overall that was an inspiring speech. Of course, the president more or less was talking about his dreams. A 1 trillion naira economy by the year 2026, and a 3 trillion dollars rather economy within the decade. Of course, he says it's possible, and I share in that optimism. I share in that dream, and I think Nigeria should also share in that dream. If you also look at the thrust of the speech, because you are talking about the steps to achieve that. This thrust of his speech, because he was addressing the business community, captains of industry, it made a lot of sense to focus on the major challenge that that sector is experiencing now. Now, any business person, any captain of industry you would you talk to now, will tell you that the elephant in the room is the forex challenge. And that was why his speech revolved around issues to do with forex. He provided assurance that the government was doing something to ensure that all forex obligations of the government, all forward contracts the government had entered into would be met, would be cleared. That was also why he talked about he inherited the assets and liabilities. So part of that, these liabilities, he has assured that would be cleared. That's why I said it was quite reassuring, and that was meant to boost confidence. So I think it was important. He emphasized that, and I also recall that the central bank governor, when he was also addressing the National Assembly, had that as also one of his priorities, to clear backlog of forex demand, and that's very critical if we must boost confidence, in that market. Of course, there are also other issues. For example, he talked about 500 billion naira support intervention funds for small businesses. That is critical. Again, if we must attain that desired state. Issues around consumer credit, I also think that is also one thing that will help to lift the living standards of workers in particular, because that will give them access to things like personal things that will improve their living standards.
So the president's address, the president addressed that elephant in the room, as you put it, especially in the area of foreign exchange, needed to get the economy on the right path. But what about steps to ending poverty, achieving food security? I know you've just mentioned some of that, but it might seem like a tall dream to others. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, what I have to say about that is that yes, 500 billion naira might seem, huge, but if you look at the crisis that we have, even in the food sector, that is more like a drop in an ocean. So there is need to increase the size of interventions, particularly to, small and medium scale enterprises. Especially when we are talking about agri and SMEs. If you look at what is happening today, the agri sector is actually lagging behind. The last MBS report talked about just 1.5% GDP growth rate. Yes. Ditto for manufacturing. But permit me to say very quickly that one thing that one would expect the government to do is to also, particularly the central bank, is also focus on the demand side. The speech appears to be focusing on the supply side, what the government intends to do to improve forex liquidity. But there is a challenge in the demand side, which was even why the 43 items, came up in the first instance. So I think going forward, the government should also be thinking of what to do, with the demand side. And one thing they can quickly do is for the National Assembly to pass a law, a Buy Nigerian law, similar to what we even have in the United States today. In 2021, in the US, the Buy America, Build America, Buy American law, was passed. That's the kind of thing we need in Nigeria today, to be able to reduce the pressure on the demand side.
Thank you, Professor. Now, we've been speaking with Professor of Capital Markets at the Nasarawa State University, Professor Uche Uwaleke, on the National Economic Summit, Matters Arising. For more on economic matters, let's join Musa Abubakar.
Thank you, Najah. Well, the federal government has assured Nigerians of a 1 trillion economy by 2026 as strategic steps are being taken towards stimulating economic growth. This is as stakeholders at the ongoing 29th Nigerian Economic Summit in Abuja are suggesting practical steps towards the attainment of set targets.
From supply of foreign exchange from NNPC, increased production, reduced expenditure. From our discussions with sovereign wealth funds that are ready to invest and front-load, provide advance funding alongside that investment, there is a line of sight on $10 billion worth of inflow of foreign exchange in the relatively near future.
We will come out with something that is representative of the true market, because the market itself over time will adjust to some of these things.
And over time, we're going to be refining up to about 1.4 million barrels of crude oil per day.
All these government GOEs, government-owned enterprises, that before this time generate a lot of funds but fail to remit it. We are pushing.
We do believe that without introducing new taxes and without increasing the rate of tax, we can expand the tax net and close the gap of 20 trillion naira, which is actually conservative, within the next 2 to 3 years.
And at capital market, the Nigerian equities market began the first weekday of trade in negative territory as the all-share index closed trading for the day at 66,876.92 basis point. At the end of Monday's trading session, 314.6 volume of shares value at 4.3 billion naira exchange hands in 6,133 deals. Market capitalization stood at 36.7 trillion naira. Well, that's business news. Najah, is back to you.
Thank you, Musa. And still on business, sustaining the removal of bureaucratic constraints to enhance the business environment is the priority of the federal government as a means of attracting investment and stimulating economic growth, says the special advisor to the president on the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, Dr. Jumoke Uduole. Neka Oko reports that Dr. Uduole emphasized this at a sensitization workshop for 53 PEBEC ministries, departments and agencies in Abuja.
Here in this hall are representatives of various NDAs whose roles are critical in promoting the country's economic growth and enhancing the ease of doing business. The compliance workshop is to assess the progress they have made in complying with the Executive Order 01, now codified in Business Facilitation Act 2022 from January to June this year.
We work with 54 MDAs granularly, monthly, on particular steps. And so as long as there's a team that is responsible for working on business climate reforms, the business climate reform will continue to improve in this country.
The report says significant progress has been made across most NDAs in implementing the Executive Order 01 measures, resulting in Nigeria's noticeable improvement in global business rankings.
The only thing that MDAs need is the political will and the support for consequence management, which is what you were speaking to. Those who do well are commended, they get PEBEC awards, those who do not do well, they also get very stern admonishments about what needs to be done better.
BEBEC's main objective is to transform Nigeria into a more friendly and conducive environment for starting and growing businesses, which the special advisor believes is crucial in accelerating Nigeria's economic transformation. In Abuja, Nneka Oku, NTA News.
Vice President Kashim Shettima is to meet the President of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, at the World Prize Foundation's Norman E. Borlaug International Dialogue in Des Moines, Iowa, United States of America. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President, Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President Stanley Okwocha, Vice President Shettima will deliver a keynote speech at the event's plenary session on Tuesday and later participate in the African Agriculture Dialogue on special agro-industrial processing zones and in a fireside chat with the AFDB president. It's time for another break. Stay tuned.
A demonstration of its commitment to provide sustained access to basic healthcare for all Nigerians, the Federal Government of Nigeria, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, has established the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, BHCPF. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund is designed to deploy operations fund directly to primary healthcare facilities in every political ward nationwide to ensure the availability of quality PHC services to all Nigerians, irrespective of where they live or work. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund guarantees 24 hours availability of midwives, other health workers, and health supplies in at least one PHC in every political ward. Ask from your local government health department for the BHCPF PHC in your ward to get more information and benefit from the services. Think access to healthcare for all. Think universal health coverage. Think Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Health and National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA. For further inquiries, call the NPHCDA toll-free number 7722 or visit www.nphcda.gov.ng.
Congratulations on your 7th year coronation anniversary and birthday. I congratulate the Omonoba Nedu Nkwakpolokpolo Ewa II CFR, Oba of Benin, as His Majesty celebrates his 7th coronation anniversary on the throne of his forebears. The anniversary appropriately coincides with his birthday. This makes it a double-barreled milestone. It is therefore a special privilege to wish the Oba many years on the throne of his forebears and resounding good health. I also appreciate His Majesty for the honor showed to me by his recognition of NTA's contribution to the promotion of our culture and tradition. Oba Ratokbe, signed, Mrs. Pauline Igbano, immediate past Zonal Director, NTA Benin, a proud recipient of royal beads.
The Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, wishes to announce the 25th quarterly meeting of UBEC management with the Executive Chairman of State Universal Basic Education Boards, SUBEBs, with the theme, Redefining National and State Priorities for Effective Basic Education Delivery. The meeting is scheduled to hold as follows. Arrival, Monday 23rd October 2023. Meeting days, Tuesday 24th and Wednesday 25th October 2023. Venue, Exclusive Serene Hotel, Wuye, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. daily. Departure, Thursday 26th October 2023. Announcer, Dr. Hamid Boboyi. Executive Secretary, UBEC. Education for all is the responsibility.
This food sweet, not be small. But get me my pitas, make I knack am. I beg, make I go get her.
Now wait a minute. Now my bottle of bitters with it.
Yes. What be the problem?
Now you be the problem. Look, I no go take this one from you. Go get me my yo-yo bitters now.
Darling. Bitters now.
Make I hear you correct fact. Yo-yo bitters dey different too. The formula wey dem take make am na panda, and the medicine action na enene. I beg comot this yeye stuff make you go get me my yo-yo bitters now.
Correct natural ingredients dey inside wey dey wash all nyama pursue waste pain plus constipation 440. Ogbonge vitamins dey inside to help your body work well.
Yo-yo bitters dey different too. The formula and action na correct. Me I no dey take another bitters o.
Non-alcoholic yo-yo bitters is available in supermarkets and pharmacy stores nationwide.
Number 1001 reason to love Golden Penny pasta. It is rich in protein. And number 1002, it contains fiber. Number 1003, it tastes great.
Mommy, does it end?
No, my darling, it doesn't. So you see, beyond the taste, there are so many reasons for you to love your Golden Penny pasta.
Golden Penny pasta is a great meal for you and your family, giving you a delicious taste with great nutrients.
Reason 1004, it slops.
Golden Penny pasta, great taste, good nutrition.
Bye, Mom.
He's going to play in this weather. Why did you let him go? He might fall ill.
And if he doesn't go out for practice, how will he win more trophies? To protect our family from illness-causing germs during the rainy season, we use Dettol soap every day.
Dettol with germ defense gives you protection. Raining season brings a lot of germs, and Dettol soap's germ defense protects you from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol Show.
Thanks for staying tuned. We're talking election petitions now, and the Supreme Court has reserved judgment after hearing all the appeals filed before it against the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Court, which affirmed the election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress. Judiciary correspondent Austin Anyebe reports.
Before the Supreme Court are three appeals emanating from the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Court. The first one is by the presidential candidate of People's Democratic Party, while the second one is by Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of Labour Party. The third appeal came from APM. The 7-man panel of justices commenced sitting with the hearing of two motions regarding the appeal filed by the presidential candidate of PDP, Atiku Abubakar. The first application filed and moved by the presidential candidate of PDP, Atiku Abubakar, prayed the court to admit deposition from the United States of America on the discrepancies in the certificate the president presented to INEC during the 2023 presidential election and urged the court to allow the application. Counsel to INEC, President Tinubu, and All Progressive Congress enjoined the court to dismiss the application as they were not party to the process that produced the disposition that the appellant seeks to tender, as it was a mere testimony given in the appellant's law office in the United States of America. The second motion was filed by the respondents, who prayed the court to dismiss the application for lacking in merit, more so that it is not in tandem with the provisions of the Electoral Act. The court thereafter proceeded to listen to the appeal filed by the Allied People's Movement, which seeks interpretation of the Constitution on the alleged double nomination of the Vice President Kashim Shettima. The panel of justices presiding over by Justice Inyang Okoro sought from the counsel to APM what they stand to gain if the judgment is in their favor, having not come second or third in the election. The Supreme Court also had the appeal filed by the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, who challenged the decisions of the Presidential Election Petition Court. He prayed the Supreme Court to upturn the verdict. His counsel, Levi Uzuaku, senior advocate of Nigeria, and respondents adopted their brief of argument. Having heard all the appeals, the panel of 7 justices decided to reserve judgment as a date shall be communicated to parties. From the Supreme Court, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
Let's now join Hingino in Lagos for more news. Hingino.
Naja,
A new online sports betting platform has been introduced to the Nigerian market. Bolaji Akim, who was at the unveiling of the product logo, reports that the online betting app, known as Bet Baba, comes with lots of uniqueness that stand it out.
The unveiling of the product logo with a slang Nairobi Boss, Bet Baba, operating under the company name of One World Unity Project Limited, is said to give online sports betting Nigerians value for their money. Operating under the platform of www.betbaba.ng, the online betting app gives a bonus of 150% to the first depositor. With a combination of innovation and security techniques, the company's goal is to give customers value for their money.
We want our betting to be socially responsible. For us, quantity is not going to be compromised at the cost of quality. And we want to engage and retain the customer for a long, long time and give them an experience that other betting companies don't give.
Our customer, when they come on our platform, they feel very secure. Okay, and the main USP is the fast and the fastest payout. We promise to our customers that they will never suffer in terms of the payouts.
While speaking on the uniqueness of Bet Baba, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Francis Ife, revealed that Bet Baba is the only online sport betting platform that offers opportunity for customers to bet on all aspects of the match with just one ticket.
Bet Baba platform is a very, very unique platform. We have several features there. We have same match combination. We have very, very good odds that can be boosted. We also have a very, very good security on the platform. I'm talking of risk management tool. We do not support gambling addiction. So we have a very, very strong responsible gaming programming that has been attached to our platform.
The event also featured the unveiling of Bet Baba commercial promo. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
That's it from here. It's now back to Naja'atu in Abuja.
Thank you, Hingino. And still on celebrations, the 80th anniversary celebration of the Archdeacon Crowther Memorial Girls' School, Elelenwo, Port Harcourt, has been marked with a call to invest in girl-child education, which key players at the event say is pivotal to attaining sustainable development. Ijoma Ogoki reports.
Archdeacon Crowther Memorial Girls' School, Elelenwo, is celebrating 80 years of raising women who have distinguished themselves and still making great impact in the society, as well as contributing immensely to the growth of the school. Notable among them is the wife of the immediate past governor of Rivers State, Justice Suzette Nyesom-Wike, and the face of the anniversary, who is the only surviving pioneer student of the school, 97 years old Letish Pepple.
With the attention paid to discipline of the children, I know that we have many worthy stars in waiting.
They taught me almost all the values, apart from the informal education I've had. I'm so proud of those missionaries.
Having moved by the driving force of the motto of the school, Fidelis in Minimis, which is faithfulness in little things, the Old Girls Association of ACMGS Elelenwo brought together dignitaries from far and near to celebrate the milestone achievements of the association as they give back to their alma mater.
The old girls do not just leave the school, but come together and contribute.
If the old girls say no girl should be allowed to leave this school on account of non-payment of school fees.
Earlier, a public lecture was also held to mark the 80th anniversary, where the guest speaker, Dr. Nesomchi Ofo, laid emphasis on the need for governments to focus attention on problems hindering girl child education.
If we're going to see rural development in the world, then our best investment is in women.
We support them by equipping their labs. What I have for other Old Girls Association is to emulate the Old Girls Association of Elelenwo Girls.
There were investiture of girl child ambassadors to distinguished personalities for their contributions to girl child education. In Port Harcourt, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of Dr. Abdullahi Mustafa to serve as the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Energy Commission of Nigeria. Dr. Abdullahi Mustafa has served for more than a decade in the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission with significant experience in the energy and space technology sectors. President Tinubu expects the new ECN Chief Executive to make a positive impact on his administration's intensive push to diversify the nation's energy sources in an atomic way. More news after this timeout.
It's okay, make it relax like it's your by day. Anything you want to do it on, if you do, I'm no need to delay. You no need to stress yourself, eh? You got that world in your hand. Living like a baby girl for life, make the people know. If you wanna buy your head time, easy access, now one time. Everything break at there, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh yeah. Spice up your life with my MTN Abu Naija. My MTN Abu Naija. You fit upgrade your life with my MTN Abu Naija. My MTN Abu Naija. Anything you fit do with my MTN Abu Naija. My MTN Abu Naija.
Discover Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste. We pick fine quality tea leaves from selected tea gardens around the world to give you Lipton Yellow Label's flavorful and balanced taste in every sip.
The Honorable Minister, Federal Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, cordially invites the general public to this year's Digital Nigeria Conference, Exhibition and Awards with the theme, Harnessing Digital Technologies for Job Creation, Inclusive Economic Growth and Sustainability. The event, which will have discussions centered around sub-themes like emerging technologies, blockchain, metaverse, AI, GovTech, Innovation Challenge, Consumer Tech, Creative Economy and others, is scheduled to hold as follows. Date 24th to 26th October 2023, time 9 a.m. daily. Venue International Conference Center, ICC, Abuja. For more details, please log on to www.digitalnigeria.gov.ng. Announcer Kashifu Yunwa Abdullahi, CCIE, DG and CEO NIDA.
New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Even Glow, enriched with 95% pure vitamin C and pulp extract. For visibly radiant and even-toned skin in just 2 weeks. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Even Glow, for your shade of beautiful.
Unwrap joy, unleash taste. Welcome to a banking experience that is effortless, secure, and tailored to your needs. Get instant loans at your fingertips. Sell FX easily right from the app. And enjoy 100% control with our self-service option. Pay, send, and receive money conveniently with NQR. And enjoy all other features you have come to love. Let's go branchless. Head now to your app store to update or download the new Key Mobile app. Keystone Bank.
This is where we draw the curtain on the network news. Bye for now.
NTA. You can't